One of our viewers had a question asking about what we can expect in the probable cause affidavit. This comes from @BLM Protest News on Twitter.
Well, what you'll have in there is you'll have the minimum amount. Well, some prosecutors like to keep a minimal amount. Some prosecutors like to use a little more in there. So the affidavit only had to establish probable cause that this person did these crimes, not the threshold that we'll see at trial, which is obviously beyond a reasonable doubt that everybody knows about. So I think at the very minimum, you're going to see two things, I think. His DNA at the scene, and how we matched it, how we know this defendant's DNA was that DNA that we found at the scene. Of course, at the scene, when we processed that profile DNA, we didn't know who it was. So how we made the match to this defendant, was it through a genealogy website or whatever, I think you'll have that in there. And I think then you'll have the second piece I think you'll have is location data, which means I think they might have some kind of cell phone pinging data, some kind of thing that put his cell phone in the area of that house at the night of the murder, or in the vicinity of these victims in the time leading up to the murder, something like that. I think you'll have physical evidence from the crime scene in there, and then some kind of location data also. You might have more than that, but at a minimum, I would expect those two types or categories of evidence presented in that affidavit.
And just to remind our viewers, that's a really low bar, probable cause. You just have to get over that really low hurdle to get that complaint filed and everything like that. But there may be a lot of good information in that affidavit. We're all looking forward to seeing it. We don't have much time left, but Joseph, I've got a question for you coming from a fellow Alabaman from Roll Tide Mom. For Joseph, please explain how experts discover evidence not clearly visible in a perfectly clean car. Thanks! !
Yeah, you mentioned alternative lighting sources earlier. We can use infrared, those sorts of things in that environment. Another source, obviously, is if we can apply some kind of luminescence. You've all heard of luminol. We also use a product called Blue Star, which they're kind of the same, but not exactly. So even if a deep cleaning has been done, that can certainly happen. And keep in mind, they're also going to be looking for any kind of latent prints that might be there as well. Of course, you would expect to find his, but when you go onto the scene, if he took those gloves off as well, there might be latent prints that are within the scene that are tiebacks to him. This is beyond just the DNA, and so you can do all kinds of things in that environment. I'm thinking about super gluing and also iodine. We apply a solution of iodine as well to raise latent prints as well. So there's any number of methodologies that can be employed.
Well, Joseph Scott Morgan and Bobby Chacon, thanks so much for being with us. We are out of time for this hour, and thank you for joining us as well. We will see you back here later today. I'm Anjanette Levy, and you have been watching The Lunch Show here on Law and Crime. Stay tuned for more coverage on the arrest of Bryan Kohberger.